Hey everyone, this is Jeanette, and I want to thank you for joining me for another video. This time I'm featuring this little Happy Holidays card that I made. The other day as I was cleaning out my stamp drawers, I found this old stamp set that I had bought a long time ago that I had forgotten about. And it was from Hobby Lobby, and I only paid $6 for it. But it has this cute little penguin, and it has a little snowflake and the Happy Holidays. And I thought, well, this is really cute, so I'm going to go ahead and sit down and do a card with that. This is the card that I came up with. The way that I did this was I used a variety of product. I used my Versamark, I used some Twinkling H20s, which are these little tubs that are right here. And I used some, this is called Shimmering Mist, and it's by Luminart, and it is, it's called Radiant Rain. That's just a spritzer. And then I also used my mini monograms cartridge, and so I'm going to show you how I did this card. My card base is 5 by 6.5 inches, and then I went ahead and I cut the white base. It was just a plain piece of white cardstock like this. And this is an old stamped image that I'm going to show you how I did this. Let me adjust the camera just a little bit. And the first thing that I did was I took my little spritzer, my spray, and I shook it up really good. And then you just kind of spritz like this. And then it'll leave that blotchy little look. And then you go ahead and you just kind of like let it dry. I'll clean my mat out real quick so this won't stain it. Then you just go ahead and you let it dry. I'm going to work around it. I'm not going to let this dry for right now. I just wanted to show you. Some of the favorite things that I like to do is I like to actually mount my photos. And I'm going to show you these remarkable little things that I just love. I've gone through 2 sets of them, and I really, really like them. Because no matter what you do, you have a perfect map around your picture every single time. And I'm going to show you how that's going to work. I have a piece of cardstock here. This is the one that I just sprayed. And I'm just going to stick this down there kind of crooked. Okay? And you're thinking, oh great, how am I going to get that to make a perfect map? Well, I have this perfect little set here. And they're called perfect layers. And what they are is they're little rulers that have different increments on them, depending on the mat size that you want, and it cuts a perfect mat for you every single time. And I'm going to show you exactly how I did that. I'm going to choose the, let me see, the 1/4 one right here and show you how I did that. I'm going to put this down and get my craft knife. So basically what you do is you take your craft knife and, hold on, I'm having a hard time getting this out of here. So, I take my craft knife and I go ahead and I find the size of mat that I want, which I said I'm going to use the 1/4, and there's a little ridge there. You put it so the 1/4 is actually facing you. So then you line this up and your ruler blade will stop at that 1/4. That little mark that you have that's 1/4, and then you just take and you cut your paper, and that gives you your 1/4 mat there. And you do that with all the sides that you have until you've completely cut your 1/4 of an inch mat all the way around. I like to use these to even graduate my mats. So I like to, if my photo's small on my layouts, I'll double, triple mat it just to give the picture more space. And I use this every single time, and I just love these things. The first set that I had, I went through pretty quick. The next set has a steel band in it, so you can't actually cut your thing. But this is a perfect mat every single time. So that's how I do my mats. And I just wanted to share that with you because I really love the perfect layers. So this ended up being the background that I did. This came out a little bit darker. So then the next thing that I did was I took my Versamark and I took the little snowflake stamp. I'm just going to show you on this real quick. Just going to do a few. And I went ahead and I randomly stamped on here. Some off, some on. And then depending on what you want to do, you can use any different type of embossing powder that you want. Let me see if I could show you this. Or you can leave it as a watermark, whatever you want to do. And I'm just going to show you on one little corner on how I did this. And I took my embossing powder and I sprinkled it on. And you sprinkle on liberally because you're going to shake a lot of this off. And then you get just another sheet of paper. Fold this one in half so I can catch my powder on here. And then you just shake it off. Put it back in your jar. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to heat emboss this. Let me show you how I did that. And then you just wait for the colors to change. And I'm just going to show you on a couple of them really quick. Make sure you move it around so that you don't burn your paper, because it will burn your paper. And make sure you do it on a surface that you are not going to harm. I probably shouldn't be doing it over my mat, but okay, you can see where it's starting to change now. You can see that really good. And that's what it's going to look like when you finish heat embossing it. So the next thing I did was I stamped my little penguin on a sheet of white cardstock, and just using a black, actually I used Stays On because I was going to use watercolors on this, so you want to make sure that your ink doesn't run. So I went ahead and stamped the little penguin. Then I got my tubs of Twinkling H20s, and they come in little tubs like this, and they're not very big little tubs, but they last a long time. So I went ahead and colored him in. And then to color in the background that was here, I just took I dipped my paintbrush in a stamp pad and colored around that. Then I took my Marvy punch, my scallop punch, and I cut out the little penguin. And I wanted the scarf to kind of hit the edges where the scallops were, so that's why there's that much of a white center, white border around that. Then using my mini monograms, I went ahead and I cut the scallop circle out for it. I cut it at 3¼ inches, I'm sorry. And that is on page 129 of the book, and it is this one right here. Then using the foam dots, I went ahead and I matted the penguin onto that colored scallop circle. Added my ribbon, and then I stamped the Happy Holidays in a Stays On ink in turquoise. And then I brought out these things. Remember these? These were the things that were really hot about 10 years ago, and everybody had to have them, and then they kind of fell out of favor, but now they're coming back. And this is what I used to cut my edges around my Happy Holidays, and this is the mini scallop scissors. Then I went ahead and matted this onto this piece of cardstock and cut around that, and then I just glued that flat to the card. And this is what I came up with. I hope you like this card. I really had a lot of fun making it, and I really like the way that it turned out. I hope you'll join me again, and thank you for stopping by.